Good morning, grade 4s, and welcome to another maths lesson with Mr. Travis. Last week we were having a look at geometry, looking at 2D and 3D shapes, and today we're going to start looking at fractions. So when we look at fractions, I think it's important to first off start by having a look at what fractions are and why we have them in the first place. Okay, so here are your objectives for the lesson. First of all, we need to understand fractions and why we use them. Then we need to understand what the denominator is and what the numerator is, so what they represent. Okay, so before we look at fractions, I think you might recognize hundreds, tens, and units. Those are when we have groups of hundreds. So in this case, we have 3 hundreds. We also have 7 sets of 10 or 70, and we have 6 units. And that's fine. If we wanted to share this, we could. But what happens when we only have 1 unit and we need to break up that unit into smaller pieces? Well, that's when fractions come into play. So fractions are, in fact, when we break up 1 unit into even smaller pieces. All right, so we have fractions to break a unit into smaller pieces. How many pieces we break our unit into, or our whole into, give us the denominator, which is the bottom number in a fraction. So, for example, if we had a chocolate slab that had 18 pieces in it, then the denominator would be 18, because it's how many pieces there are altogether. Not how many we have, just how many there are altogether. Okay. We'll come back to the numerator in a moment. Okay, so very important. The pieces have to be the same size. For example, if you were sharing something with one of your siblings, and you were the person who shared it. So let's say you were sharing a chocolate and you broke a big piece and a small piece. You can imagine which one your brother or sister would take if you gave them the option. So you want to make sure that those pieces are exactly the same size. All right, let's go across to a whiteboard platform quickly, so we can have a look at these things, these shapes. So if we look at the first one, this is like a unit or 1. We have a whole thing all together. We could split that into 2 pieces. In other words, halves. So we have 2, and you can see that's where the denominator comes in. There are 2 pieces in the whole, and this side on the left is one of those 2 pieces, and this side on the right is one of those 2 pieces. All right, so together there are 1 and 1. There are 2 pieces that make this up, so 2 halves. Over here you can see it's only 1 piece, and there's 1 of them. That makes sense. All right, and over here, we've broken it up into 4 pieces. And so you can see we've got 4 as our denominator. All right, and in this case, this one is one of those 4. This one is the other one of those 4. Another one of those 4. Another one of those 4. And together, they make up the whole. So 4 pieces, each one of them is 1/4. All right, over here, we've broken it up into 8 pieces. And you can see each of the pieces is the same size, and we have 8 pieces, which is why the denominator is 8, and each one of those is 1/8, or 1 out of the 8 pieces. Now, interestingly, before we go on to looking at our next couple of slides, I do just want to have a look at this, is if we took the 2 halves and we put it on top of the whole, you would see it's the same. So 2 halves together is the same size as a whole. 2 halves together is, let's do it this way around. 2/4 is the same as 1/2. Right, you can see that they're the same size. And 4/8 is the same as 1/4. In fact, 4/8 is the same as a half as well. All right, let's pop back over to our slides. So you can see that the bottom number is, or the denominator is, how many pieces it's broken up into. Okay. Let's now quickly move me out of the way, and let's have a quick look and see if you can write down the denominators for each of these. All right, so I'm going to do one of them quickly on the whiteboard so you can see what it is I'm looking for. Each one of these has all of them colored in, so I'm actually only looking to find out what the denominator, the bottom number, is for each of these. So quickly jumping back to the whiteboard, and let me just move over here, make that a bit bigger. All right, so I'm just going to switch on my iPad quickly so that I can draw on this with my finger. All right, so let's have a look at number 4. That's the one I'm going to do for you. You can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces altogether, and that means that our denominator for this one will be 6. And that's all I'm looking for you to do for each of these. I'm not looking for you to put in the numerator or the top number, just the number at the bottom. All right, okay, I'll give you a few minutes to get going with that. All right, about another 1 minute should be enough for you to finish up. All right, I hope that you've finished. If not, then you can just have a look as we go along. So just a reminder from last lesson, this is about learning, so it's not a test to see whether you've got everything right. It's just for us to learn as we go. Okay, so if we have a look at the first one, we can see that there are 2 pieces, and so our denominator will be 2. If you got it right, that's fantastic. If you got it incorrect, then just put the correct answer next to what you're doing. If we have a look at number 2, that's a little bit smaller. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces. So our denominator will be 10. Having a look at number 3, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. Denominator is 8. I think you're getting the pattern here. We've done number 4. Let's move across to number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. So we have a denominator of 5. Number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12, so the denominator is 12. Number 7, nice and easy. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 at the bottom. 8. 1, 2, 3. We have 3 at the bottom. And number 9, which I put there last just to check if we could trick you. Number 9 has just 1 piece, and so we have 1 at the bottom. All right, so having a quick look over these, we can see that all of the pieces are actually there and colored in. So in fact, if we were going to write a numerator for the first one, we would have to say, well, there are 2 pieces there. So 2 over 2 is the same as a whole. Next one, we have 10 pieces. 10 over 10 is the same as a whole. Next one, we have 8. Next one, we have 6, 5, 12, 4, 3, and 1. So in fact, you can see that for each one of these, the numerator is the same as the denominator, and that's because it's all colored in. All right, now I'm going to let you in on a quick secret that's actually part of next lesson. But one of the things that we do want you to know in grade 4 is the fact that the division sign is the same as a fraction. So let's have a quick look at that. Next to you on the right, you see 2 divided by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1 whole. And 2 over 2 is 1 whole. Those two things, 2 divided by 2 and 2 over 2, they are the same thing. So in fact, we could write 2 divided by 2 is equal to 2 over 2, which is equal to 1. All right, so anything over itself is actually equal to 1. Okay, let's quickly pop over back to our presentation. Okay, so the denominator is how many pieces the whole or the unit 1 is broken up into. That's the bottom number. And what do you think the numerator is? Come to that in a moment. Lots of people use different ways, but sometimes children get mixed up between which one's at the bottom and which one's at the top. I always remember that the denominator starts with a D, and so it's down. So the denominator is at the bottom, and the numerator, the other one, at the top. Okay, so the numerator is the number of pieces we have, or the number of pieces that are colored in. And that's why, if we go back to our whiteboard, we can see that because they were all colored in, we got this number up top. Okay, so looking over here at this example, the whole circle is divided into 2 pieces. That's why our denominator is 2. And the numerator, we only have 1 piece, so 1 piece is colored in. And that's why the numerator is 1. So this is a half. In other words, half of the circle is colored in. All right, let's look at another example. In this example, the whole thing is broken up into 3 pieces. So the whole circle is made into 3. So that's why our denominator is 3. And we can see that 1 piece is colored in orange, right? And that's why our numerator is 1. If we were looking at what was the fraction of ones that were not colored in, we would say, well, 2 are not colored in. So then the fraction will be 2 over 3, because 2 would not be colored in. So this is looking at what fraction is colored in orange. All right, let's have another test to see how well you're absorbing this today. Okay, so I'm going to switch across to the other platform in a moment, but what I'd like you to write down is what fraction is represented below. So what fraction is shaded green? Okay, I'm going to switch across. Well, in fact, now let's leave it on this board while you do it. So what fraction of this is shaded green? So we can just do it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 questions. I think I'll give you about 3 minutes to get through those. Don't think it'll take too long. So all you need to remember is how many pieces the circle is broken into gives you the denominator, and how many pieces are colored in, that's your numerator. Just a reminder that if you have any questions for me at all, you can email them to grade 4 at WorksheetCloud.com. I think you can find the email address on the page where you are now. I think another 2 minutes should do it. One more minute, and if you are stuck, just remember to find the denominator, the number on the bottom. You just need to count how many pieces there are altogether in the circle. And to find the numerator, you just need to see how many are colored in. Right, I hope that you're done. If not, just follow along as we go through it, and you can have a look and see, and then maybe you can catch up where you were a little bit lost. All right, okay, so we're going to start with the one at the top left. So to find our denominator, we see how many pieces there were altogether. So this circle had 2 pieces in it, 1, 2. So our denominator will be 2. We had one of them that was colored in, and so we say there is a 1 on top. So 1 over 2, which is also known as a half. Let's jump across to the next one over. We count that we have 1, 2, 3 pieces, so our denominator would be 3. One of them is colored in, and so we have 1 up top. Going to the next one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. So I'm going to put a 4 at the bottom. One of them is colored in, so we put a 1 on top. Right, forgive my looking down and not at the camera. I am drawing on my iPad as we speak. All right, the next one across. I think you're seeing the pattern now. We have 5 pieces, so the denominator will be 5. One of them is colored in. So the numerator is 1. Next row, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. So we have let me draw this next to it. We have a 6 at the bottom for the denominator. One of them is colored in, so we have a 1 up top. Number 6, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 pieces. So we get a 7 for the denominator. 1's colored in, so we get a 1 up top. Right. 8 pieces over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One of them's colored in, 1 up top. Next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is the denominator. 1's colored in, we get a 1 up top. Next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 for the denominator. 1 is colored in, so 1 is our numerator. And you'll see for each of these questions, we've only colored in 1, one of them green, so each of them, the numerator is going to be the same. We have 11 pieces in the next one. Denominator of 11, 1's colored in, numerator's 1. And I'm sure you've noticed the pattern. We have 12 pieces in the last one, and we have 1 colored in. All right, so in fact, in grade 4, you only have to know up to 8ths. You don't need to know the others, but it's the process of what we're doing is just looking at where does the denominator and where does the numerator and denominator come from. All right, so I'm going to quickly erase this middle row here. Oopsie. Just erasing the middle row here. And I'm going to color in another couple of pieces, another couple of wedges, and let's see if you can get the numerators and denominators once I do that. Change my pen to green. All right, so for this one, I've now colored in an extra block. So will you do the fraction for that one? The blocks that are colored in don't need to be next to each other. So let me do that one there. All right, do the fraction for that one. Fraction for this one. And also the fraction for this one. And I'll give you about maybe a minute to get that done, and then we'll go through those answers as well. Right, 10 more seconds. I'm sure many of you are already actually done. Okay, well, the denominator is not going to change because the number of pieces in the circle is still the same. So this one still has 6 pieces. All right, but this time we have 1, 2 that are colored in, and so our numerator changes to a 2. For the next one, we still have 7 pieces, so the denominator is going to be 7. 3 of them are colored in, numerator is 3. Still have 8 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colored in, so numerator is 5. And the last one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have all 9 colored in. And so there we go. There's the fraction 9 over 9. All right. Okay. So that was having a look at the various fractions. Let's just jump back and have a look at our lesson objectives to make sure that we're all on track and we're okay with them. So I hope that by now you understand what fractions are when we have to break something that's only 1 into smaller pieces and why we use them. I hope you know what the denominator is. That's how many pieces we break the 1 into, and the numerator, how many of those pieces we still have. So coming up this week, we're going to look at equivalent fractions, fractions that look different but are actually showing the same amount. And maybe later on in the week, we're going to look at adding and subtracting fractions. And that's when we start using operations, plus and minus, with fractions. And it sounds difficult, but I think that once you've had a look at it and once you've talked through it, it should be okay. All right, so thank you very much for joining us today. Just a reminder, any questions you have, anything you want to cover in future lessons, just drop me an email at grade4@worksheetcloud.com. There is homework which is on this page. Just click on the link that's above the video. There's also a memo that you can check whether you've got it right. I hope that you won't find it too difficult, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow morning. Have a fantastic afternoon.